They stole my wallet. The bum stole my wallet. My wallet's gone! My wallet's gone! I had my wallet in my back pocket. It's gone.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I wanted to get my x-ray. Somebody takes my wallet. Is that the operation here? But I don't want to be a
secondary character.
Hello.
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 Welcome to another episode of But I Don't Want to Be a Secondary Character. This is a podcast about Seinfeld, the greatest sitcom of all time, but it's a bit different to your typical Seinfeld podcast. In this one, we get random episodes of the show and talk about the wonderful secondary characters featured in it. My name is Ivan.
And I'm Stephen.
And we have a very special guest, Sarah. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good. And you're Stephen's sister.
I am his older sister.
The more wiser one.
Yeah, but he's probably more mature.
That's right. It's been a long time coming. I've tried to have you on for a few times, I think, but finally got around to it. Being a mother to two young girls, my nieces, it's time is a bit harder to come by.
Yes, you're right there.
So we'll talk a bit later on about your history with Seinfeld. Obviously, it'll be shared history with our mum and our individual histories. Before we do, though, what episode are we doing this week, Ivan?
This week we are doing The Wallet from Season 4, Episode 5, and it's like a pseudo part 1 of a pseudo 2-part series, The Wallet and The Watch, which we have done an episode on The Watch a while ago, but we're doing the first unofficial part, The Wallet.
Yeah, that's right. Two items that Leo finds in the bin after Jerry disposes of them.
That's the Watch especially.
Yeah. Yep. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email bidwabastpodcast@gmail.com. You can say hello on all forms of social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. You can listen to all of our previous episodes wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to support us, you can subscribe and review us, 5 stars preferably, or whatever you feel is appropriate. And you can support us financially as well.
That's right. We are on Patreon and PayPal, so you can donate financially. And if you are on Patreon, you do get access to bonus episodes of Curbcast, our Curb Your Enthusiasm podcast, as well as Season 11, our original series where we come up with modern Seinfeld episodes, plot and all, and we read them out to you.
That's right. And you can listen to our terrible character voices.
We try our best.
We try our best. And finally, if you want to join our Facebook group, Seinfeldisms, it is now the biggest Seinfeld group on Facebook. Literally just before recording, it ticked over 75,000 members, which is mind-blowing.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're running weekly trivia events as of next weekend. We'll be rotating between the US/Canada, Europe, and Australia. We'll be kicking off with a US trivia event, East Coast time. So jump on the Facebook and check out the events at the top of the page, and all the instructions are there on how to join and how to play. And if you're from either Europe or Australia, just keep an eye on the page for future events as well.
Indeed. And speaking of Seinfeldisms, what has happened to you in the real world, Stephen, regarding Seinfeld?
So this is a pretty good one. I played trivia, non-Seinfeld trivia, the other night with some friends over Zoom. And I found out, and I'm surprised I didn't know this prior, that one of my friends, or they're a couple, their dog is named Babu.
Babu.
Yeah, I thought it might have been the Seinfeld reference, but it turns out that her ex-partner, who she co-parents the dog with, is Indian, and it is a fairly common name in India. So it would be like, it would be like us naming our pet, Chris or John or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I hope they don't feed the dog shrimp, and they say the shrimp is a bit stringy. It's a bit stringy. Quiet. Wuff, wuff.
Exactly. What about you?
Me, I actually have a really good one as well. My lovely fiance, she made cinnamon babka over the weekend. Ooh. And I actually put photos up on the Seinfeldisms page. So got a lot of likes for it, and a lot of comments, a lot of good ones. I had someone say that they're looking forward to waiting out my future marriage because we're getting married next year. So yeah, one guy was like, we're going to wait out your marriage. And one person said, you're lucky to have a Jewish girl who can make babka. And I was like, she's not Jewish, but she makes pretty good food. Yeah, close enough.
My first thought was another vodka. That's what I
Another vodka, yeah. A few people said that too.
And cinnamon.
Yeah.
The lesser. Well, it certainly wasn't the lesser vodka. It's really delicious.
Yeah, cinnamon's an underrated flavor, but cinnamon's that spice where just the right amount is perfect, just over the right amount, and it's horrible. It's such a fine line.
It should be on tables in restaurants along with salt and pepper.
Exactly. Sarah, our guest today, do you have any Seinfeldisms for the week or in recent? Because you're not a weekly host of the show, you can go as far back as you want.
Well, that's handy because I have two. I mean, I probably have a few more, but the two most recent ones both happened at work. So one of my colleagues, she had to write out about 50 checks. Now, you don't write checks anymore. You just pay direct into bank accounts. But she had to write 50 physical checks for the marketing team. And at the end of it, she said her hand was just so cramped, kind of like in the check. Coincidentally, it was sort of the same, well, it was the same day. We had a guy come in to do massages for us, our finance team, just like 15-minute, shoulders and whatever. So yeah, I just thought any kind of theme, I think Seinfeld, so the massage, a couple of episodes relate to massage, but yeah, the checks one was I looked at my boss who's very Seinfeldy, she gets everything, and I just looked at her and went, this is a whole episode, her hand cramping up, and writing checks too. I mean, what are the odds these days? I have another one as well. I had a bit of everyone will know what I'm talking about when I say downtown moment. So I had to speak to my boss's boss here at home on Skype, and I was speaking to him about a report he wanted me to do, and my daughter comes toddling in, and I'm listening and then trying to kind of calmly get away, go back out the door kind of thing. And I was sort of hearing what he was saying, but at the end I thought, you know what, I really didn't actually get all of that. And then I had to, I guess, extrapolate, figure out what he was saying. And yeah, that was my downtown moment. I talked to my boss and said, I had a downtown moment the other day, and she totally understood what I was saying. So yeah, a bit embarrassing, but hey, I figured it out in the end.
At least you didn't have to wear a puffy shirt.
No, exactly.
I was going to ask with the massage, did anyone say that it moved?
We're a girl finance team. There's about 8 of us, and we're all female. And no one said anything. No one would have understood that reference anyway. I was thinking of, George, but nothing moved, I don't think.
No one was afraid of their sexuality.
I would hope not.
You would have been moved by the fantastic massage and how good it was.
Yes, it was only 15 minutes, and it's kind of on one of those, those 1980s ergonomic chairs where you're sitting forward and your legs are all kind of back. Anyway, yeah, it was a bit, it was comfortable, but yeah, strange in the office.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I can never relax if we had, Ivan and I worked together in the same office, and if we had someone coming around to massage us, or even if we had to go to a certain room, I couldn't relax. I'm like, I can't relax and get a massage in this context, in this environment, It's strange.
Well, you might just, be relaxed for about 5 minutes, and then you're like, right, straight back to the stress. It's not the right. I understand what they try to do, but yeah.
Anyway, next section of the podcast, Seinfeld news. Only one this week, and this was a bit of a stretch, but I had to include it so that we had something. Recently, the Trump administration, we try and avoid politics on the show, so I won't get too politicized, but recently the Trump administration proposed rule changes that would allow shower heads in the US to boost water pressure. He announced that after he complained, I think it was at a press conference or in an interview, that he couldn't get enough pressure out of his shower, and that it affected his hair. It needed to be perfect all the time.
Oh, my Lord. I don't want to get into this at all, but yeah.
No.
I can see why it was a big deal.
Yeah, we'll talk about what he said, sparing our opinions of Trump. But if you want to know our opinions of Trump, especially mine, go back and listen to really old episodes, and there's lots there.
I know, you went nuclear back then.
I did a few times, but...
a few times, yeah.
You probably went postal, right? Relative research.
With
what's going on at the moment, yeah.
Sure.
The mail never stops.
The mail never stops. When you control the mail, you control information. He actually said, sort of rhetorically, but also went through the question, he goes, so what do? You just stand there longer and you take a shower longer? Because my hair, I don't know about you, but it has to be perfect. Perfect. A bunch of experts and a bunch of industry, boffins said that the idea of rolling back restrictions on shower heads, especially given the current political climate in America, is a bit silly. Maybe it's not a high priority given everything that's going on, and that it's the idea that it's required is actually a bit silly. So it's a strange turn of events, but definitely related to Seinfeld, obviously, with the shower head, which we actually did back in July 2018. So scroll back through your feed about 2 years and you'll see our take on the secondary characters of that episode.
It was that far ago. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. a while ago. We've been
Cool.
doing this for 3.5 years now.
Yeah, quite a while. We're almost at the end.
No, almost at the end. And that's all the Seinfeld news for the week.
Very good, mate. Before we go to a break, I actually have some listener mail that we received, I think, yesterday or the day before. I just thought I'd read it out before we go on the break. This is from Judy. She's from Oslo in Norway, and it's pretty appropriate because we did the butter shave a couple of weeks ago, and it featured vegetable lasagna from Norway. So Judy said to us, I love your podcast, listen to it all the time. I'd love to give a shout out with any Seinfeld episode of your choice because there's so many good ones to choose from, to my friend Aurette. We owe our love for Seinfeld to be one of the reasons for bonding our friendship, and keep up the great work, and looking forward to hearing future podcast episodes. So that's from Judy from Oslo in Norway. And I replied back to her the other day and I said, we're going to record the wallet. Can I just give a shout out to Aurette on that one? And she goes, yeah, that's fine. Perfect. Sounds good. So shout out to Judy and Aurette from Norway. Thanks for the email.
Yeah, I think that's our first mail outside of either the US, Canada, or Australia. It's our first European mail.
I was going to reply back to her and go 10 kroner,
Yeah.
15 kroner.
You should have signed off as Magnus.
Magnus vegetable lasagna. I should. But anyway, that's a really nice email from Norway. Thanks again, Judy. And like I said, let's have a quick break, and we're going to talk about some secondary characters from season 4's The Wallet.
You're listening to But I Don't Want to Be a Secondary Character.
Welcome back. This week we are doing The Wallet, episode 5 of season 4, and we have a very special guest this week, my sister, Sarah.
Hi.
And before we get into the main part of the episode, I just wanted to ask Sarah to, I guess, give a bit of a background on your relationship with Seinfeld, how you got into the show, how you've been a fan for, 20, 30 years, and some favorite episodes and maybe some highlights of the show.
Okay, well, I guess I've been a fan ever since it came on TV in the early 90s. We all used to sit down, didn't we, Stephen? Or Mum, Dad, you and I, and watched it. And I guess, back then I didn't really understand, what impact it would have on my life. But yeah, I think, I don't know, it's really grown on me personally. When I lived in London, I used to sit on the tube, boring journeys to and from work, just watching episodes over and over and over again. So I know a vast majority of episodes, like line for line. Well, I used to. My memory's a bit shot these days. But yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those, it's a comfort, you can sit down, switch your brain off and just watch a bit of Seinfeld. Sure, lots of people think about that, think the same thing about Seinfeld as well, maybe even other shows. But for me, it's just a comfort, and it's just one of those shows that you either really get or you don't. So I know a lot of people that don't get it, but yeah, I don't know. Just love it.
Yeah, well, so do we. That's why we're here.
Mm.
One thing, I think I've already asked you this, but I can't remember. When you were living in London, obviously Seinfeld in Australia is really popular, so you could throw around a reference at almost in any situation and there'd be at least one person in the room who would get it. Was it like that in London?
No, it was definitely not. I think, dare I say it, Friends was massive over there. But a lot of British shows are also clearly massive over there. Lots of American stuff wasn't as popular, Seinfeld being one of them. But luckily, I worked for a company called Pret, and I worked with a really great finance manager, and he was exactly like me. You could just pop out any line, any reference, any word, and he would understand Seinfeld. So I sort of had a kindred spirit there, which was very lucky because I used to just say some random things and people would just think I would be strange. So it was nice having somebody who knew what I was talking about. So not as popular as it is here.
Fair enough. If you had to list, say, 3 favorite episodes, what would they be? And 3 favorite secondary characters.
Oh, okay. One of my top 3 has to be the Soup Nazi. Then secondary character, the Soup Nazi. Obvious reasons. Stephen, I think you've already shared the little video or talked about the video that I got from the Soup Nazi from my 40th. I love the contest. That's probably one of my, definitely in the top 3, I would say. And then I really, really love the Hamptons episode with, you go to see the baby. And yeah, that one is, I think because I like it, it's a little bit different because it's set outside of their usual setting, outside of Jerry's apartment. And also I know that a lot of people don't really like it, is the backwards episode, the one from India. I really,
the
really
betrayal.
like that one. Yeah, I can't remember.
It's underrated.
Yeah, I really like that one. And I know it rubs people the wrong way, but I like it.
Very cool.
Nice. And a couple of other favorite secondary characters.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, it's so hard. There's so many. So what did I say? The Nazi. I like Jackie Childs. I think he's, he's great. Oh, I can't really think of too many more. I guess Newman's not a secondary character. He's he's a primary secondary character.
He's technically a secondary character.
Yeah, we count him as a secondary, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I'd have to say
anyone outside the core four is a secondary. So, yeah, Newman counts.
Yeah, true.
Yep. Newman down is secondary task.
Yeah, I have to say Newman up there. As much as I don't like him, I really do like him. I find him very annoying, but he's kind of integral to, the apartment living, Jerry and Kramer and everything. So, yeah.
He's a mystery wrapped in an enigma.
And an enigma wrapped in a riddle.
Yeah.
So then you said, no, he's wrapped in a Twinkie, yeah.
Wrapped in a Twinkie.
Thank you for that, Sarah. No doubt we'll learn a bit more as the episode goes on.
Anyway, thanks for that, Sarah. Really interesting what your favourite secondaries and episodes. Really good ones there. But anyway, let's jump into this week's episode, The Wallet, Season 4, Episode 5. In this episode, it first aired in the US on September 23rd, 1992, directed by Tom Chirones, written by Larry David. Jerry's parents are in town so that his father, Morty, Barney Martin, can see a specialist about his aching back. Morty's upset when he finds his wallet is missing from his pants pocket after leaving his clothes unattended in the examination room. Jerry has to do some quick thinking after his parents ask why he doesn't wear the watch they gave him. In fact, Jerry threw it away because it didn't keep the correct time. George decides to play hardball with NBC, demanding a better deal for their show about nothing. Elaine returns from Europe, determined to break up with her psychiatrist boyfriend Dr Reston, played by Stephen McCaddy, but he's not making it easy for her. Other secondary characters in the episode: Liz Sheridan, of course, plays Helen, Seinfeld, Heidi Swedberg as Susan, Len Lesser makes an appearance as Uncle Leo, hello. David Sage is Dr Dembrow, Morty's doctor. Susan Eileen Johnson plays the nurse. Denise Dowse plays the receptionist, who's not really a fan of Morty's demeanour. And Brian Lechner plays the gas station attendant at the start of the episode. So a bit of trivia about the episode, Stephen. What have you got?
First bit of trivia I have is that this episode has the return of Elaine. She was missing for the most part for the first 3 or 4 episodes of the season because she was pregnant. That's why they wrote her European storyline, to accommodate her absence on the show. But when she comes back pretending to be a delivery driver, Federal Express. When she enters, the crowd actually applauses, and it's the only other. She's the only other character to have received applause other than Kramer, which he got pretty much every episode for the first maybe 4 seasons.
And Kramer got a lot in this episode too.
Yeah, this seemed to be the most boisterous cheer for the crowd. It was even another level compared to other walk-ins that he had even in this season. But after this season, it kind of died down a bit.
Yeah, it did a bit. But I think the didn't the writers or the executives or something want the crowd to shut up? I think we talked about this once in trivia.
Yeah, I think when they warm up the crowd or when they talk to the crowd before filming, I think they actually started to ask probably at the end of their season to just keep it quiet for when Kramer comes in.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's probably for the best.
I think so, and it would get a bit old as well. It would seem a bit forced after a while.
Yeah, very sitcom-y. Definitely.
Do you have any trivia?
Yeah, I got a couple. So this episode is continued in the next one, The Watch, which we've already done previously, like I mentioned. It's the only 2-part episode of the series that is not separated by a part 1 and 2 in the title.
Yeah, it's strange. You got to wonder whether that was deliberate or whether they just sort of wrote one episode and then they thought, let's write a direct sequel. A lot of the time they write a full script and then just cut it down the middle. But it is. You kind of do forget that they are interlinked episodes. That one leads directly into the other.
Yeah, because season 4 had a lot of obviously massive story arcs and lots of subplots intertwining.
Yeah, it had the trip and then the pilot, lots of 2-part episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And also this is the first appearance, or this is the first time where Helen and Morty share a scene separately away from Jerry.
Yeah, which scene is that? Oh, when they're at the doctor's, of course.
When they're in the doctor's office, yeah. It's the first time that Jerry's not with them.
I think all future scenes with them alone are probably just when they're in Florida. I can't think of any other scenes where they're up in New York visiting Jerry and they're not with Jerry. There probably is maybe 1 or 2, but I just can't think of any off the top of my head, except when they're in Florida.
Yeah, I'm sure there's at least a few.
Yeah. Bit of a trivia light episode, this one.
Yeah, there's not really much.
Normally we have to pick and choose the best trivia points, but I searched high and low for more than what we just talked about and couldn't find anything.
Yeah, couldn't find it like Morty couldn't find his wallet.
I had one little bit, and well, it's related. Apparently the wallet was later revealed to be in Jerry's couch in the pilot part 2. So I don't remember that part, but that's what happens.
Yeah, they're about to watch Jerry. So the 4 of them are sitting on the couch, and then it's about to go to air. And then Jerry feels something in his couch and it's his dad's wallet.
Actually, yeah, now that you mention that, I do recall that part.
Yeah, no, nice pickup. Yeah, I was gonna say that when we talk about Morty, but because you think that at first the doctor's office might be actually a front for, stealing, but it turns out that they didn't do anything wrong.
No.
If they're running a doctor's clinic, especially one that's popular, you would assume that they're making a lot of money. So it's like, why do they need to steal a couple of $100 here and there out of a wallet? They're probably making more cash than they need.
The doctor probably makes like $1,000 an hour anyway. What's $200 to him? Yeah.
I mean, it took months to get in. So yeah, I don't think it needs the cash from a lot. Maybe the nurses and the receptionists are underpaid.
Who knows? We'll find out. But anyway, let's talk about some secondaries from the wallet, shall we?
Sounds good.
How about we start with Morty and Helen in the context of the episode, eh?
Yeah, I like it.
Cool. So Morty, he was played by the late Barney Martin, and Helen was played by the wonderful Liz Sheridan. So, Morty, he thinks that the clinic is a front for theft, like I mentioned before. And you did mention, Sarah, that in the pilot part 2, the season 4 finale, Morty's wallet was actually left in Jerry's couch. And Morty, he's just really irrational in this episode, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he comes across to me in this episode as really anxious, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not the first time I'm sure they've visited Jerry, but he's just really uneasy. He screams out, "My wallet's got," feels his pockets and he's worried, and the doctor, he doesn't like him, and, he thinks he's a rip-off, and he gets these ridiculous questions that he has to fill out. And I don't know. Yeah, anxious, cranky, more than usual, because, I mean, he's just a bit gruff usually, isn't he? So, yeah, and I mean, Jerry's mother is very, proud of her son and defensive, and how can anyone not like him? It reminds me of Mum for some reason, Stephen, because she just loves Helen. So
how can anyone not like Stephen? How can anyone not like you?
I like how Morty's a bit more down to earth, and he's like, I can see how someone might not like him.
Might not like
and Helen's like, don't say that.
Well, I guess the question is, with Helen, do you think she actually genuinely believes that Jerry is likable, or do you think she's probably delusional?
No, I mean, she's just a mother proud of her son, I think. How can you...
Okay.
Think, how can anyone not like their child like they do? They see all the good, I guess. But yeah, like you said, Stephen, Morty's a bit more realistic. You're like, I can see an instance where he's not likable, but yeah.
So you don't think she's just saying it to try to make herself feel better? She actually genuinely means it?
I mean that kind of struck me as well. It's an affront to her if nobody likes her son. But no, I think genuinely she loves him to pieces.
Yeah, and whenever Helen and Morty are up, or whenever they're down, Jerry and anyone else tends to be on slightly better behavior. So maybe her opinion of Jerry changed after the finale, when all their sort of skeletons were revealed in a very public setting. Maybe she thought, I can see now why someone might not like my son. Yep. What I liked about Morty in this episode was it added so many feathers to his cap in terms of character development. It's the first time you see Morty more cranky than normal. And also that badass side of his comes out when he's like, I'll make some calls. And he's like, who are you going to call? And he's like, don't worry about it. Like he's some, connected gangster type guy or something like that. Yeah. And the dynamics between Helen and Morty, I think, were really, really fleshed out in this episode really well. To me, this episode has the most character development for them as individuals, as well as them as a couple, as, Jerry's parents and who they are in relation to him.
I feel like this episode actually, it grounded Morty and Helen as really solid secondary characters. I mean, it could have anyone else, performing later on or in this episode could have probably it could have easily gone the wrong way and they could have become an unlikable set of parents. But, you've got Frank and Estelle Costanza who are, wacky but likable as well. But they're kind of, Morty and Helen, I guess you could say, compared to them, are a bit more grounded. And I think this episode kind of cemented them as really, like I said, solid secondaries.
Yeah, and I think they played into the stereotypes of parents their age, where the mother is a bit overbearing, but, still has a really nice heart and she just wants the best for the son. And the father's just a bit kind of disconnected and a bit rambly and a bit angry and just a bit, they embody the stereotypes of people their age and a married couple really, really well. So I think that's why they're so likable, because they are actually relatable. Whereas George's parents, there's probably less people like them in the world than Helen and Morty.
Than them, yeah. And Morty also has that really conventional mindset where he thinks that, Jerry being a comedian isn't I guess a quote unquote real job. So he always thinks he has no money, like Jerry isn't a salesman or an office worker or anything like Morty used to be. So Morty thinks that he doesn't earn any money. It's it's not a serious job.
Yeah. I don't think Morty respects Jerry. I think he respects him enough to to have let him make his own choice, when he was younger and then becoming a professional. But I think he thinks that Jerry should have been maybe a doctor or a lawyer or a more conventional job that a parent would be typically proud of.
Or a sales manager at Bloomingdale's.
Yeah, exactly. Do either of you have anything else about Helen or Morty?
Nope.
No.
Okay, cool. Why don't we talk about Dr. Reston?
Dr. Reston, yes, he's played by Stephen McHattie. And yes, him and Elaine go to Europe and they come back. And I think we have talked about Dr. Reston in a previous season 4 episode. I think we mentioned, Steve, way back when that, Dr. Reston, he has like a huge control over people and, he's able to manipulate people his own ways.
It's like a Spenjali.
What did I say?
Spenjali. Oh, no, Spenjali.
Yeah, this episode for me paints Dr. Reston not only as someone who is a bit of a control freak, but I think he's an unethical creep. He really crosses the line in the episode. It's not like he's subtly manipulating Elaine. He just says to her point blank, "You will do this."
Yeah.
And when she pushes back, he goes, "No, you will do this." He's just, I think he gets off on the ability to control his patients and maybe especially like women who are romantically involved with him, like Elaine is as well. I think it gives him a huge ego boost.
Because mind you, Elaine's also a patient as well. So obviously he's breaching so many ethics, sleeping with one of your patients.
Yeah, for sure.
He knows her vulnerabilities and, he talks about her dream and, lots of
sexual encounter with the Chinese woman.
Are you still urinating a lot? Yeah, he's a creep, but he hides behind that professional veneer, I think. So yeah, like
I said previously, he just kind of had like this weird, assertive, controlling aspect to him. But I don't think we ever called him unethical. But in this episode, that's just gone out the window. He's just a garbage person.
And we see him in the wallet trying to manipulate Kramer too.
Oh yeah, I like that bit when he's on the telephone. But I think that's so, isn't it? In this episode, he gets on the phone, or the phone rings, and he speaks to Bobo. Do you think that's Crazy Joe Davola, or
he says to Bobo? He says he gives directions to Bobo as to where the office is. So I'm guessing he's probably just a new patient named Bobo.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe he has to give his patients like code names when he's talking openly in front of other patients to preserve anonymity or something. But if Elaine wasn't in the office, he might have said, "Hey Joe," but with someone there, he might have to say Bobo.
Very true.
I wonder what Elaine's code name would be.
What would you call Elaine if you were her psychiatrist?
Well, if I was a psychiatrist, I'd just call her Elaine. But if I was Dr. Reston, I'd call her victim number 6 or something like that.
Oh, no.
Face like a frying pan or big wall of hair? Big wall of hair.
Face like a frying pan.
Nice. Yeah, so that's Dr. Reston, total creeper. Let's move on to something a bit lighter. Let's talk about another doctor, Dr. Dembrow.
Dr. Dembrow. Yes, he's played by actor and writer David Sage. He's known for the film The Birdcage and the TV show Star Trek The Next Generation. And I think with Dr. Dembrow, guys, he definitely puts his patient's health first. Like Morty says that he's lost his wallet and, even Dr. Dembrow seems really concerned, but I'm guessing he probably has like a serious diagnosis for Morty. So it's probably like something really bad with his back and he'd rather put the wallet issue aside first and tell him what's happening.
That's probably why he's so backed up. That's why it's so hard to get in there, because he's such not only a competent doctor, but a caring doctor.
So
very caring.
He's very thorough. He knows, the wallet will probably turn up. Do you want to focus on your results? And Morty's like, no, what kind of thing you got going on here? So kind of scam. So, and then he just sort of walks out in a huff. But yeah, I think he just, like you said, he's got his patient's interests at heart.
Yeah. I was going to say, he doesn't really indulge Morty that much. Morty questions him about the operation he has and he goes, "Okay, fine," and he just walks out. And I think it's, for him, he's like, well, this is a lost cause. I'm not going to convince this guy that he's being paranoid. I've got another patient. I'm just going to move on. And I think that reinforces the idea that his patients are number one and he's not going to indulge paranoid old cranky men like Morty.
Yeah, because even we said earlier that if he's earning so much money, why would he steal $200?
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's interesting how the episode makes you think that maybe someone else, like the receptionist or something, stole the money, and then we find out, right at the end of the finale, you think that his wallet was actually stolen, because one would think if you had a wallet in your pocket, you'd feel it. How could you walk into an office and then you think someone stole your wallet, but you didn't feel it? Especially with guys, you wear your wallets in your pants, in your pockets. You think you'd feel it or something, or you had to take it out to give ID or something. Yeah, so you actually think, oh my God, maybe someone at the clinic did steal his money or his wallet.
But also,
until right at the end.
were hanging up without him. So someone could have just snuck into the room, nicked it out of his trousers, and then it could have happened while he wasn't there. Well, that's what he's assuming.
And then in the pilot, we just show that he's just paranoid and very forgetful in his old age.
Yep. I wonder if Jerry told him, and then I wonder if Morty, just going back to Morty just for a sec, I wonder if he'd have the right amount of humbleness to call Dr. Dembrow and say, look, I'm really sorry that I caused a ruckus in your clinic. My son actually found my wallet in my couch. Or he's too stubborn, isn't he?
No, too stubborn, yeah.
Definitely.
He'd probably still tell the clinic, you got to be careful with leaving, people's pants out and, making sure no one steals anything. He'd probably give him a lecturing.
I can imagine, for the sake of peace and professionalism in his clinic, I can imagine Dembrow at the end of this day where Morty came in thinking, I want to avoid another situation like this. Maybe I should put a protocol into place where, before a patient goes in the office, we offer them to, the option to put their wallet behind the counter or something like that, just so that this scenario, again, just to maintain the professionalism. I think he's very self-aware and he knows that he's running highly regarded and very tight ship, so he doesn't want anything disrupting it.
Yeah, he's not running a clip joint like Morty says. What kind of clip joint are you running here?
I don't even know what a clip joint is, but it's funny.
Yeah.
It's like an old-timey term for a front to commit crimes.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else about Dr. Dembrow?
No. What about you two?
No, well, I had a bit of trivia about the actor. He's played a judge 6 times and a doctor 3 times in various other television shows. So he's quite typecast. He looks like a distinguished older gentleman. So, I guess he fits that profile quite well.
He does, yeah. He's David Sage. That's the name of the actor.
Yeah, well cast for sure. All right, let's talk about Susan Ross in the context of the episode.
Yes, played by Heidi Swedberg. And Susan is the subject of our very first What's the Deal With episode, our 5th episode overall. So if you want to find out about her, Steve and I talked about her for about an hour back then. So if you want to find out everything about her, then go ahead and do that. But I guess in the context of this episode, she's not seen too much. She's only in one scene with George. And she's actually really surprised when George wants to turn the deal down. She's taken aback by it.
He's not Ted Danson.
You're not Ted Danson.
I think this is the first episode where you see her kind of sassiness come out. She's really good at cutting George down when he's kind of being arrogant or just punching above his weight in whatever he's doing. Because she laughs at him almost mockingly. She goes, "You're not Ted Danson," and she knows what Russell Dalrymple's going to say when she takes back George's rejection and request for more money. She knows exactly what's going to happen. And one thing I noticed about her as well in this episode is she seems a bit more light or less weighed down by George's bullshit. She just seems to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's
still very early in their relationship.
Yeah, she's yet to see the dark depths of George Costanza, so that makes sense. But it was just nice, because most of her storyline is season 7, where she's just constantly having to deal with George's lies and just the core fours bullshit. So it was nice to see her unimpeded by that.
Yeah.
She got vomited on by Kramer a few episodes before, and obviously she hates Kramer, and Kramer keeps calling her Lily by mistake in future episodes.
She's yet to be chased out of town by, Bubble Boy defenders, or her father's cabin hasn't burnt down yet. So
no, that's a few episodes in a few episodes' time.
Gives George the cigars from her father, which consequently burn down the cabin in future episodes, don't they?
After George gives them to Kramer, yeah.
Yeah.
I love how they've set that up. You see the origins of the Cuban cigars.
It's subtle.
Very subtle, yeah, but it works.
Yeah. And then it comes full circle when Kramer befriends all the diplomats and staff at the Cuban embassy, and then they go and play golf.
I do like this jacket.
I like this jacket.
Yeah. I like in this episode as well when when George offers the cigars to Jerry and Jerry rejects them. So he offers them to Kramer. Kramer opens it up and he puts one in his mouth and he says something. I don't know if he's actually speaking Spanish or if he just says noises.
Gibberish, something that sounds Spanish, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a bit of sort of higgledy-piggledy, isn't it? Just like mumbo-jumbo.
Yeah. But it sounds like it could be Spanish, He's good at just making sounds. All right, moving on. Do you have any notes about anyone else?
Just a couple of notes on the nurse and the receptionist, nothing too much. So I guess the nurse, she was played by Susan Eileen Johnson. She's known for the film 9 Months and the TV shows Mad About You and Family Matters with Urkel. Yeah, with the nurse, we don't see her too much, but I feel like at first she's really trying to tolerate Morty, Morty, in the first scene when they're in the waiting room together or in the exam room, she's really tolerant, like, yes, Mr. Seinfeld, stay there, the doctor will come very soon, blah, 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 blah. But in a later scene, she comes in when Morty's yelling, like, I've been waiting here for 20 minutes, what's going on? And you can see, like, she's really frustrated this time. So she's really, like, Morty's really gotten under her skin.
Definitely. And then she opens that Velcro, I think it might be a Velcro cuff, and he freaks out because he hates Velcro. And she's just like, what's going on?
What's going on? Yeah. And then she seems actually, when Morty says that the wallet's stolen, she seems quite concerned. She walks in and she's gone from like frustrated to like, oh God, his wallet's gone. Oh, geez, I better try and do something.
I better return the wallet to his pants. No.
I'm not getting paid enough.
Yeah, it was worth it. I think she handles Morty really well. She's concerned enough to show that she's caring, but she doesn't sort of tolerate too much of his paranoid kind of crankiness.
That's right.
It's good. And you wanted to talk about the receptionist as well?
Yeah, just really quickly, played by Denise Dowles. She's known for Ray, Pleasantville, and Biodome. And the receptionist, she gives Morty the form. Morty's like, this is a book. It's taking 45 minutes. She's not impressed with him at all because Morty's like, have you ever had a sexually transmitted disease?
Okay, that's it. You got my name and my address. That's enough.
And then she turns to her associate and says, okay, you can bring him in now. So she knows that he's one of those really impatient types. Because I think back in those days, New York, the stereotype of like New Yorkers was like angry, frustrated, being in like a, big city, congestion, traffic, yada, yada. Maybe she thought that he was just like a typical New Yorker, like an angry New Yorker, stereotype, and was like, yep, I've seen these guys before in the clinic. Nothing new.
And isn't she the same actress who plays, you remember the mother of the family that George goes to watch Breakfast at Tiffany's at? And she comes in at a later point and she's like, who are you? I'm pretty sure she's the mother, but
might be.
Yeah, she seems very familiar and she's unimpressed there as well. So maybe.
Just like the whole family.
Yeah,
coming home to a random watching Breakfast at Tiffany's with you.
I'm pretty sure that's the same woman.
No, look, it could be right. Seinfeld did do a lot of double casting. There are so many secondary characters, what we've talked about, where they played one character in one episode and another in another. So
yeah.
And as you say, it's Sarah. Yes, she is the mother in that episode, The Couch. That's where George rents Breakfast at Tiffany's. Well done.
Yes.
Nice. All those hours watching Seinfeld on the tube paid off.
I know. Something has been absorbed and it's not useful information. It's Seinfeld.
That's more than useful information because
it is.
Yeah.
Even I missed it. I usually get all the acting credits and I missed it. So there you go. You did my job. Thank you.
You've raised the bar. Jesus.
Yeah.
I'll get an email through the week saying it's been good having you, Steve, but you're off. Sarah's on.
No, it's going to be more like Stephen and Sarah. The bid will pass with Stephen and Sarah from now on.
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't commit to it full time. I don't think.
Can you still do all the editing, Ivan?
For a fee, no.
We'll pay you in that you can listen to us.
Yeah, that's it. Yep, that's fine.
Nice. I have a couple of notes just on Uncle Leo in the context of the episode. And we have done an episode of Uncle Leo as well. So go back, way back to 2017, maybe 2018, and you'll find an episode on him. This is the first time you really see him kind of like be a bit, he's very annoyed with Morty. He's very upset by the fact that Morty walked out on his appointment and accused the Dr. Dembrow and the entire clinic of stealing. But in typical Uncle Leo style, he kind of exaggerates the truth. He does do that from time to time. Initially you think that, he's friends with Dr. Dembrow, but as Morty points out, it turns out that Dr. Dembrow lives on the same floor as his son. Is that right? Yeah. Something like that?
No, Dr. Dembrow's son lives on the same floor as Uncle Leo.
That's right. Yeah.
So he doesn't know Dr. Dembrow directly.
Yeah, but the fact that he emphasizes it was, he did me a personal favor. You think that they're good friends or, that he's been going to him. Yeah, he's like, you said it again.
Personal favor.
Why do you keep saying that?
You said it twice.
Yeah, you get the impression that it's been going to him for 30 years or something, but I don't think he's ever been to him. And he just knows he's aware of his reputation. But yeah, that fell in line with Uncle Leo, where he, another exaggeration of his that comes to mind is when, I think it's in the pilot, when or maybe the pitch actually, when Jerry's on his way to NBC and he runs into Leo. And Jerry's like, I can't talk now. I've got a really important meeting. And Leo goes, it's okay. I understand. I've got many friends in show business. Yeah. And it's like,
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Leo might kind of know one guy 20 years ago who kind of worked in showbiz. But according to Leo, I know plenty of people in showbiz, so I'm all over it. He doesn't make up stuff, but he takes a kernel of truth and expands it. Anything else about any other secondaries?
No, that's it from me. Anything for you, Sarah? Any notes? Any comments? No?
No, I think we've covered everything I thought of.
Anyway, let's take a really quick break. We'll come back and wrap up the episode. We're going to find out where the wallet sits in our episodes we have done so far, and if any of today's newer secondary characters make our top 20.
Well, there's not really much to tell. You know, he's just a guy, really.
Yes. Well, I assume he's a guy.
Right.
And you've known him how long?
Years. Many years. We've been close friends, and then recently something just, happened.
You mean sexually?
Yeah. Sexually.
Okay, we're back. Let's find out where the wallet ranks.
Yes, out of 140 episodes we have done on this podcast, for me, the wallet sits at number 64. What about you, Steve?
It sits at number 88. It was okay. I had a few yucks. I like Kramer in this episode. But I don't know. It was mostly average all the way through. I didn't find much that I would call fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just like a standard, I guess, an average season 4 episode where it was like a means to an end rather than like its own kind of entity. So it kind of led on to the events of The Watch and, later season 4 episodes, the Bubble Boy, the Chiva letters with the cigars.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Sarah, I know you don't have an official listing of episodes, but if you had to place this episode generally, in the top, like best episodes or middle or bottom, where would you rank it?
Yeah, I think I'm with you guys. I'm kind of, sort of between 60 and 100 somewhere, because it's not, it's as a standalone episode, it really, it's a linchpin to lots of other episodes. It leads into The Watch, which I think is a far better episode than this as a standalone.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, and like the secondary characters are okay. And again, they're just purely supporting in this, like bit part type secondary characters. There's nothing too memorable. Dr. Reston, he's a bit of a creeper, but there's lots of little secondary characters, I think.
Yeah, and most of the secondary characters in this episode are well established by this point, go on to be even more well established. So they didn't have a lot of room to add in a memorable one-off secondary character like a boyfriend or a girlfriend, like so many episodes have. So I think that from how we view episodes, maybe let it down a bit as well.
I think, Stephen, when you initially engaged my, podcasting services, not that I'm experienced whatsoever, but you said, we're doing the wallet part or the watch part 1 and 2. And I thought, awesome, because, I thought maybe it was a double episode special. But as I was watching the wallet again and again, I then just kept playing the series and it led into the watch. And I like the girl who sounds like Elmer Fudd sitting on a juicer, the laugh. I like all those bits. I think that's a bit more of a succinct episode, it's a bit tighter. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're sorry we got you in a below average episode. I wish we got you for a classic or something.
Yeah, well, we've got 30 odd episodes left, so plenty of opportunities to have you back.
Plenty of classics we haven't done yet.
I always ask you to tell me which one it is. If it's not one of my, the really, really, really great ones that I've watched a million times, then I'm a bit hesitant. But yeah, I love them all.
Nice.
Well, if it's a classic, we'll give you a call and see if you want to jump on.
Yeah, this is great.
Now, Ivan, do any of the secondary characters appear in your top 20?
No new secondary characters for me, but special mention to Morty and Helen. Great performances in this episode. What about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. But Helen and Morty definitely took the prize for the best secondaries in this episode. Now, again, Sarah, we know you don't have a list of favourite secondary characters, but if you had to pick your favourite in this episode, who would it be?
I guess for the purposes of screen time, I guess Dr. Reston, you really kind of get an insight to what a weirdo he is and how much control as a Svengali he has over Elaine. And that I like the scenes with her and him together. She just gives excellent deliveries, because she has a relationship with her friend, sexually. She says,
Sexually.
I love the way Mum and I were talking about it today, actually, Stephen. She just gives, no one else can do what she does, But yeah.
Oh, Jen,
she's one in a million.
Ivan and I just drool in a non-sexual way, in a respective way over her. She's phenomenal.
Yeah, she's unbelievable.
And the bit in this, which is related with the bit where she's like Federal Express, and then she comes in, and that bit where she's got her arms up in the air and she's jumping up and down. That's like what are those things called? Not a meme, but a GIF. Is it a GIF? The one that moves?
It's a GIF.
It's popular in comment sections on Facebook. If someone posts some good news or whatever or something to celebrate, people often post that.
It's really fun.
Sure. that is another week of But I Don't Want to Be a Secondary Character. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to our guest, Sarah. It's fantastic to have you on, and hopefully we can have you back before we wrap up all the episodes. We're on the home stretch now.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
No worries.
Yeah, it's great to have another family member on the podcast of yours, Steve.
I'll have to start moving on to extended family members. They'll be like, what's Seinfeld? And I'm like, just watch the episode and talk about it. Shut up.
I haven't spoken to you in 15 years. Who's this?
Well, I know lots
I'm
of
your
our
cousin.
cousins like it, don't they, Stephen?
Actually, yeah, no, we do have some extended family who like Seinfeld. So if we're desperate for a guest, we have some options available to us.
I'll have to bring them all on.
Yeah, just have like a giant Zoom call, like 20 people.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about secondary characters with us, you can email beautifulbastpodcast@gmail.com. We're on all forms of social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit. You can listen to all of our previous episodes on your podcast app of choice. And if you want to support us, it would mean a lot if you left a rating or review or just told us what you think of the episode. And you can support us financially as well.
And you can support us on Patreon and PayPal. That's right, Steve. But next week we are traveling to season 7 to talk about a semi-classic episode, The Sponge. Is it a sponge-worthy episode? You will find out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, well, we should have had you on that episode, Sarah.
Am I sponge worthy? You know, that's really the question.
You being on this episode has determined whether you're sponge-worthy.
Oh,
Which in terms of podcasting. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, which is a weird thing for a brother to say to a sister, but
yeah, just a touch weird.
it's 2020. Anything can happen.
Oh, no. Most things. But yes, my name is Ivan.
I'm Stephen.
And I'm Sarah.
And Steve and I will see you next week for The Sponge. You take care of yourselves and each other during these very tumultuous times around the world, and we'll catch you then.
Bye.
Bye.